here as well. Welcome to our 24-25 meet and greet. Glad that you were all able to come out and be here with us today. A little bit of background about myself before we get into it. I've been with Pinecrest for over a decade now as a system. I started with Pinecrest actually as a first grade teacher over at the Horizon location, if any of you are familiar with that location. That was our first Pinecrest in the state of Nevada. I worked as a first grade teacher over there and a fourth grade teacher for a few years before transferring over to Pinecrest Cadence during the groundbreaking 8 years ago. When I came over to Pinecrest Cadence, I was in the role of a dean of students and then went on to assistant principal before becoming principal full-time a year and a half ago. So I'm proud to be part of the Pinecrest family. I'm really proud to be part of the Cadence community and excited to be here for the 24-25 school year. So again, welcome. Oh, also, I guess a little bit else background. I do have 3 of my own. I have a daughter who's entering into our high school here. I have a son who's 6.5 who thinks he's in his 20s and runs the household. And we just added a new addition to our family about a week ago, so I'm also a new dad that's not sleeping much, but I'll continue to try and plug along. Thank you. Thank you. And the universe is looking out for us with that one because he's been absolutely amazing and is actually sleeping a little bit, so I'm thankful. Yeah, exactly, right? All right, our mission and vision as a school, these both are very important to us. As a school, our mission is to unite the community and to prepare students for college and career. I really love our mission for a lot of reasons, but one of the biggest reasons that I love about our mission is the united word. I think we all can agree that right now, both as a local community and just worldwide, we definitely need to be united as much as possible. And I think this is an important part of what we do at Pinecrest Cadence is try to bring everybody together. And that's something that I'm really proud of, is just that unifying force of getting families involved in their students' educational path, getting students involved in the community, and wanting everybody to feel a part of something here at Pinecrest Cadence. Our vision is that scholars perform at the highest level on all academic measures. We have 2 really critical things that we focus on as a school. Number one, it's like 1A, 1B. Number one is obviously academics. We are a school and we do want to create a rigorous environment, so we're preparing our students appropriately for whatever they have in their future. Number 2 is the safety and security of our school, because again, we want to create a safe and positive environment for all students to succeed. So I love our vision because it speaks to the rigor and the expectations that we have for all of our students that come to Pinecrest Cadence. Every year we create a theme along with our mission and vision, and this is kind of a driving force that's interwoven throughout the year. You'll see it on our website, you'll see it in different events and things that we do. Last year our theme was Be Connected. This year our theme is Reignite, and the focus kind of behind the Reignite is for people to find their passion, right? And we've challenged our teachers, and we'll be challenging our students as they return to really look within yourself and find a passion. What drives you? What motivates you? We know that, of course, extrinsic motivation is there, an important piece, but we also want people to be intrinsically motivated because I think that's what's going to carry you through tough times and keep you persevering moving forward. So I love our theme this year, Reignite, and again, you'll see that on our website in different places. This is our incredible leadership team. We are a K-12, so this group is primarily focused on the elementary building, but we do have leadership members that are in our secondary building that work collaboratively with our elementary students, our elementary leadership team. The reason this is important, and I wanted you all to be aware of it, is because our hope is that you stay with Pinecrest Cadence. We'd love to see students start in kindergarten and work through each year into middle school and into high school. I think one of the things that's really valuable about a K-12 is, unlike other programs where they're focused just 6 through 8 middle school, and then once they're out of their school, they're out of their school. We care about each step along the way. We hope to build the students educationally as people throughout the process. And so our middle school team also will come down and work at times with this group of leaders. So we have Megan Utuck, who is our K-2 assistant principal. She's over our kindergarten through 2nd grade. We have Miss Oler, Lorraine Oler, who's over our 3rd through 5th grade. Those are our 2 assistant principals in the elementary building. We also have Miss Warren. She is our instructional coach, and she'll work directly with teachers to make sure that we're getting them as much instructional support as possible when need be, doing professional development and things like that. If there's new trends, new ideas, ways that we can impact students, she'll be helping to implement that in the classroom with the teachers. We have Ms. Diaz on the other side. She's our interventionist. That's a new position this year. And this is just, again, with us continuing to want to support all the students that we get in at our school. She's going to really hone in on pulling students out and helping them one-on-one if need be, and she'll tie into kind of our blended learning model, which I'll talk about a little later on, and help students close the gaps, if there are any, throughout the years that they're in our elementary building. She has taught fourth grade for multiple years at our school and has always done extremely well. She was a team lead of the fourth grade team over the past few years, so she has a lot of experience with Pinecrest and at our school, and I'm excited for her to take on this new position this year. We have Ms. Miskalik, who is our Dean of Students over in our elementary building. We'll talk about this too in a few slides, but we tackle behavior a little bit differently in our kinder through fifth grade. Obviously, each year as we move up, there's higher expectations from a behavior standpoint, but we do follow what's called restorative justice, which the goal of restorative justice is, number one, to repair any harm that may have been done based off the behavior or incident that occurred. But it's also about teaching the students and us as a team learning to give them tools so that they're not repeating those same behaviors. And while we go through those processes, we obviously reach out to the guardians and hope we can work in a partnership to make sure that they're prepared and they're learning from their lessons, and we're not just going straight to punitive measures and kicking them out, because that doesn't do anybody any good. That's just a Band-Aid, but that doesn't really help to change the situation. We hope that we can work through some of the behaviors, help them grow. You work with us, and then we can get to a place where they're able to learn from their decisions and the impact that it has. But Ms. Miskalik's one of the ones that will lead the way with those conversations and be a part of that. She's incredible. And she kind of teams up with Ms. Freeman, who's our Safe School Professional. Safe School Professional is kind of like a school counselor. She does have background in counseling, and she'll work with all the different students as well. A lot of times you'll see her sitting in, let's say, like there's a peer conflict with two fifth grade students. She might sit in with them and have a mediation and just talk to them about their emotions and why they're frustrated with each other and help them process those things. That's one of many things she does, but she'll always reach out to you as parents or guardians before she does any of those steps. But that's just an important piece, because we're trying to really grow kids holistically, not just from an academic standpoint, but also as young people as well. A few other faces just to get familiar with. I'll go through them pretty quickly, but these are people you may interact with on a regular basis if you're in our school over in the elementary building. Ms. Pecklow is our special education facilitator. She oversees and supports all our special education programs at our school. Ms. Media is our receptionist over in the elementary building. She's absolutely incredible. She's happy to help with anything. If you come in and you have questions, that's probably the person you'll see at the front desk. We have Ms. Powell, who is our office manager. She's also frequently in that front office area, so you may see her. I think it's always important for K through 5 parents to know their school nurse or FASA. Our school FASA, Ms. Shauna, is the one who, if your student scrapes her knee out on the playground and comes in with an owie, she'll fix them back up and get them back into class. But she's someone that you really want to get to know, because she does a great job of putting a smile back on their faces and getting them back into the classroom. We also have Ms. Chavez, who is our school psychologist, and she really works collaboratively with Ms. Pecklow in the SPED department. And then we have Ms. Fagan, who is our community liaison, and she's right back here in the room. She helps with updating everything to do with our community, our Facebook pages, all of our social media, a lot of the emails. You'll see her around campus taking pictures of different events so that we can post them and celebrate them collectively as a community. Just some highlights real quick as far as from the past few years in our elementary building. And this is collectively as a Pinecrest Cadence campus. We have been and will continue to be a high-achieving school. We've been a 4 or 5-star school across the board for the past few years. And what that means is the state gives us rankings based off a lot of different variables, including attendance, academic data, and other criteria that we have to meet, and then they evaluate us. 5 stars is the highest star you can receive. Anything over 3 is really strong, but we always strive to be high achievers, so we're always looking to be a 4 or 5-star school, and that's something that we're very proud of, and we'll continue to keep that bar high for both ourselves as educators and also for our students as well. I always like to touch on a little bit about our secondary building, specifically in this case, our high school, just because, again, I hope that all of your students, I know it's a few years away, and we don't want to think about it, but the time flies by pretty fast. We hope that they stay with us and they go to our high school. So I just want to celebrate some of our high school achievements and just make you aware of all the offerings we have at our campus. So far we have over 4,000 college credit earned, probably another 500 past that at this point, for students who are in our dual enrollment program. Those are juniors and seniors in our high school building that have qualified for our dual enrollment program based off of different parameters such as academics, attendance, behavior. When they go to our dual enrollment program, it's a partnership with CSN, and they're able to take their college courses while still attending high school. In many cases, these students have graduated with their associate's degree prior to even getting their high school diploma, which is incredible. And this is something that's paid for by the school. So for students to be able to get out, if they are college bound and that's their goal, already with 2 years of college under their belt and an associate's degree, not only is that financially beneficial to the family, but it also teaches the student a lot about themselves and how to prioritize their time going into that experience in the future. So I'd like to celebrate that. CTE is our college technical career tracks, because we are college and career. 3 of the ones that we offer currently are forensic science, graphic design, as well as cybersecurity. And so we're always getting data back from both the state and national data as far as like what are industry needs, what are things that we can prepare our students for now that when they get out into the real world, if they are career bound, that maybe have high needs to be filled. So we're always tweaking that a little bit, but those are the 3 that we offer right now. A couple things to celebrate that were done over the summer for our elementary building specifically. Number 1, we have this beautiful new turf. I don't know if you'll hopefully get to see it as you walk over the elementary building after this. The previous turf was there since the groundbreaking. So about 8 years we had the previous turf, and it was the older turf with like, I don't know if you're familiar with those little pellets that get everywhere. And so students would come home and take off their shoes and it would be all over the house or in the car. And it was just getting worn down. And so we were grateful to be able to put away some funding to do this project over the summer. And now we have this beautiful, soft, green turf out there for the students to play on and do activities on. So we're really excited that that got completed over the summer. And then the other one is, a couple of years ago, we had some desert tortoises donated to our school. I won't get into details on that, but we got rid of them. And so we gave it to someone to take care of. We didn't just let them go. We gave them to the right people. But we had this open area that needed to either be repurposed or gotten rid of because it was just an eyesore. And it wasn't looking very good. So when we looked into it, we felt like the best thing to do and the most cost-effective thing to do was to repurpose it as a pollinator garden. So they just did that over the summer. That's right outside of our kindergarten area. And so hopefully once that blooms coming up here soon, it will look really nice and just be something that the students, as a STEM-based school, our teachers can go out and talk to them about different things involved with science and the growth of plants and stuff like that. So. Couple other things up top. We're welcoming over 2,400 students this year to campus. We're finally at a place where we're pretty much built out as far as enrollment is concerned, as well as our campus. Over the past 8 years, we've grown a lot, and we've built a new building that feels like almost every year, so we're finally settling in. So if you're a new family to Pinecrest Cadence, you're coming at a great time because we're really starting to fine-tune all the things at our school. We also have 200 plus employees on our campus. Again, that number's grown exponentially each year. For me personally, as one of the leaders of the school, I always try to put any finances that we can back into human capital because I think it's about the people, right? It's about having good quality educators and good quality people working at our school, at our campus with your students. And so the more great staff that we can get on board to help that, the better. So definitely proud of that growing number as well. And then I already talked briefly about our virtual program, but that is housed here, and this will be our first year, 6th through 12th grade, so we'll have our first virtual graduating class this year. Communication. This is something that we really pride ourselves in, and we try to have lots of different avenues and pathways to communicate with families, because we understand that each family may have different things that work best for them, so we try to put it out on a plethora of different options. We have it on Facebook, social media. We send out what's called a Cougar Column weekly that has updated information about what's going on our campus and at our school. Facebook, we're always going to update with upcoming events, activities, highlights, things to celebrate, maybe things you should be aware of. Again, Ms. Fagan, our community liaison, does an incredible job. So people will put questions on there. We'll try to respond. It's a little harder to respond on Facebook, so if you do have a direct question, we just ask that you email us directly. But we'll still try our best to get on there to answer any of those questions as well. And then again, these are a few other ways that we communicate. The two things that I would like to highlight on this slide is, number one, Infinite Campus. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to get your parent access to Infinite Campus. This is going to be your end-all, be-all as far as being aware of your students' academics and where they're at. There's also a lot of communication that comes through Infinite Campus Messenger as far as again, any events and any upcoming things that are happening. If there's something that you need to be aware of, for today's event, meet and greet, we put the reminders out through that. These also send usually a text message to your phone, which is nice because people don't always maybe have access to their computer or it's not synced to their phone, so you can get a text message as well. But Infinite Campus will allow you to really keep track of where your student is at academically throughout the year. And we really encourage our teachers to be up to date with putting in information on Infinite Campus as far as grades. We also ask them when they can for big projects or tests to put it ahead of time so that you can see it coming down in the future. What this allows you to do as a family is, I know things get busy right during the year, especially during holidays. If you see that there's a project due in 2 weeks, you can kind of prioritize your time if you know you have other things going on and say, hey, we need to sit down and get on this week because we're not going to have time next week. So we do try to put some of those bigger projects and bigger tests in Infinite Campus as soon as possible so you can see what's coming in the future in those classes as well. So if you haven't signed up for a parent portal yet, please do that today. And the second one is our Parent Impact Meeting. The Parent Impact Meeting we generally have every 6 weeks. This is something where we just give an opportunity to all of our families to have the leadership team available to you. What we do is we put it on Zoom. I'll send out a reminder a few days in advance and then a reminder the morning of that we're going to have a Zoom session. You're welcome to join the live Zoom and participate. We'll go over again, like any trends that we're seeing from a school standpoint, any things that we feel like should be on your radar and you should be aware of. Upcoming events as well, and then at the end we open it up to a Q&A session, and this just gives our community and everybody as parents or guardians an opportunity to interact directly with the leadership team, and then all of those things will be posted on our social media account afterwards, the video of it. So if you aren't able to attend but you still would like to see the updates and see the information, that's available for you at a later time as well. Piggybacking on the communication piece, we do ask, I know that there will never be any concerns or issues, everything will be great, but if there is, on the rare occasion, we just ask that you talk to the teachers first. This is because most of the time the teacher is going to have more information than we do, and I also think it helps build the relationship between family and teacher. We're of course happy to interact and support if you feel like you need us involved, or if you email us, being the administration or leadership team, we're of course going to still get back to you. We're not going to leave you hanging, but most of the time we're going to encourage you to just reach back out to the teacher if you haven't already. Now, of course, if you try to do that and you're not getting a response, or you try to do that and it didn't go in the way that you had hoped, then please reach out to us and we'll help to work together to get through whatever the case may be. But we do ask that you reach out to the teachers first in most situations. Attendance kind of speaks for itself. We understand that throughout the year different things happen. There could be unforeseen situations within the family, there can be travel. We just ask that as much as possible, please send your kids to school. There's a direct correlation between kids' attendance and their academics. When kids are in school, their academics are higher. The data is very clear in regards to this. Obviously, if they have a fever, please don't send them to school. But if they don't have a fever, we all have tough days. Sometimes we don't want to go to school or go to work. I encourage you to encourage them to push through it the best they can, aside from them having a fever, and just make sure they're at school because this is inevitably going to help them succeed academically as well. Behavior, again, kind of self-explanatory. I know I touched on it a little bit when I was talking about Ms. Paskalik, our dean. I think as far as from an elementary focus standpoint, the biggest thing to think about is just from a kindergarten level up to 5th grade. When they're 5th grade, we expect more than we would of a kindergartner, and we hope to build that throughout the years while they're at Pinecrest Cadence. We do ask that just when we reach out and we are looking for support, we've done a lot of steps already, and we've done our due diligence in looking into this situation. We just hope that as frustrating as it may be, please know, and I'm speaking from a parent's perspective, I know my kids are different at home than they may act when I'm not around. So just please understand that usually is true. We're not gonna it's not fun for us to reach out either, because usually we're met with frustration, which is understandable. It may not be frustration with us directly, it's just frustration with the situation, but we just wanna work together. Because we don't want it to be happening either. We want to come to a resolution so that we can support your student, number one, and we can move forward productively and keep them in the class. So if we can just keep that in the back of our minds, that we're all on the same team, and it's not an us against you or you against us thing, I think that's beneficial for everybody. Uniforms. Hopefully everybody's aware, but we are a uniform school. If you haven't gotten uniforms already, and you need support with that, please reach out to Ms. Freeman over in our elementary building. Ms. Freeman, our safe school professional. We do have some avenues to where we can support families if they have a need for uniforms. We also can connect you with the school store or different options like that. So Ms. Freeman would be a good resource if you haven't gotten uniforms already. I personally, I didn't know how I would feel about having uniform policy at a school. I absolutely love it, and this is why. Because I grew up going to a public school. We didn't have a uniform policy, but I love it for 2 reasons. Number one, it's so much easier to get ready in the morning. Like, to be able to get your student ready and know it's just the same things every day. It takes away from the arguments and all the different things that can happen getting your child ready in the morning. Number two, it's a unifying force. You've heard me say that a few times, but it comes with our mission of all the students seeing each other with the same uniform on. It's just like a sports team, right? You're part of the same team, the same group. You're all collectively working together. And so I love that as well, that aspect of it. But we are a uniform school, and it is important to follow those policies. If you haven't, I would also look at this. I know it looks overwhelming and daunting. I'll say a few things in regards to this slide. Number one, our team has worked really hard to put this together, but also, if you go on our website, there's also a visual version of this. I'm a visual person, so I love the visual version. This allows you the ability to see exactly what these words mean in terms of what it looks like. Also, the first week or two, we're gonna be flexible. Like, we're gonna work with you as families, we're gonna work with the students. We don't think it's like intentional. So the first 2 weeks, it's usually reminders, either calling the family or talking to the student. If it's a younger student, we're probably gonna call you because they don't really understand, and we're not gonna wanna put that on them. As we get into middle school, of course, we ask that the students are more responsible for those things, so there's higher expectations. But generally speaking, the first 2 weeks, we'll work with you, we'll make sure we're all on the same page in regards to uniforms. But once we get into the school year, this is the expectation that students do meet our uniform policy. We do have some free dress days, so there's free dress policy as well that's up there. We started it last year where every Friday we have free dress because we also want students to be able to express themselves and their personalities, and so we do give some flexibility there on Fridays, and that's just a chance for them to celebrate working hard all week and then being a little freed up to, again, show their personalities on Friday. Our educational model is a blended learning model. This is really a partnership between technology and direct instruction. So we have times where we're really integrated in using the technology component, and then we have times where the teacher's still working with students either in small groups or in whole group, giving those instructions. I think it's a good partnership between the two. I know, again, as a parent, like the thing that I always have in my mind at home is like, oh, they're on technology all the time, like I'm trying to get them off sometimes. But the truth of the matter is that it's inevitable, right? Like we're heading in that direction. There's integration across the board. And so I think we're doing our students a disservice to not at least expose them to these tools that they're gonna have to use, whether they're going to college or whether they're in a career. There's gonna be certain aspects of technology integrated into those things. And quite honestly, seeing it firsthand, the students navigate and use these technologies so efficiently that they actually show a lot of growth when they do partner the two together. So I think it's a good balance, and I love that we do this at our school. These are a couple of the tools that you'll see your students using, ST Math and iReady. ST Math speaks for itself. It focuses on math skills. It's interesting because there's no directions. If you haven't used ST Math yet, it's very intuitive. The kids just figure it out. I mean, I have a hard time with some of it still because it's something different from my brain, but they figure it out and they learn at such a rapid pace when they're using and participating with this on a regular basis. Same thing with iReady. I just encourage all the students to try their best when they're taking it. I know the diagnostic test isn't the most fun. You have to take your time to do it, but what it does is it's going to adapt the pathway to the student based off of how they perform on that test. So if there's certain areas of deficits, either in standards or content, it realizes that based on the questions they answered incorrectly, and it adapts their pathway accordingly. So having them try their best on that will allow them then, as they go through the pathway throughout the year, to find more success and close some of those gaps. We do offer before and after care programs. There is a $25 registration fee, and then there's fees per day, depending on how long they stay. Ms. Donato is the one who oversees that. You can find her on our website if you have additional questions as far as before and after care, but we do run that each day of school. This is what Infinite Campus looks like from a parent portal perspective. These are some of the fees that are on Infinite Campus potentially. Again, some of those we try to front load ahead of time, like field trips, so you know a couple weeks in advance that there's a field trip coming, so you can allocate accordingly based off of funding that you know will need to happen. Personal items, especially for elementary, label everything. Students do leave stuff behind. I feel like by the end of the first semester, we could open like an Etsy shop with all the water bottles we have, and they are not cheap. Like some of these water bottles are expensive and it adds up. We do keep them for a while. We have lost and found at the front of our elementary building. If you do call, we will go look at it, or if you want to come in and look to see if it got left or taken there, it usually is. Each semester we do get rid of the stuff that's in there because we get so much stuff. But we will send out a reminder to the families, hey, we're getting ready to get rid of our stuff. If you do want to come take a look, you can, but that's all in the lost and found at our school. This year, I'm super excited about this. This year we have partnered with the CEP program through the state. This provides free breakfast for the first time for our students and free lunch. And so for me, like when I was asked if this is a direction we wanted to move, I'm like, it's about basic needs, right? Students need all their basic needs met for them to be successful academically. If they're coming to school hungry and their stomach's growling in the classroom, they're not gonna be able to focus on learning. Like, I don't want any of those things to be worries to any students in our community. And so I'm really thrilled that we're able to partner with this organization to make this happen for our students. Also, hey, you're running behind, you can't get breakfast in the morning, you know that that's an option for your student when they get to school. It's just a nice peace of mind as well. Campus safety, like I said in the beginning, 1A, 1B, we always want to create a safe environment for all of our students. Two things that I'll just touch on real quick are, one, security personnel. Last year was our first year that we added security-specific personnel to our campus. We had one at the beginning of the year, and then we added a second one halfway through the year. We now have 3 total. This is something I really like. Of course, we're all caring about safety of our school. It's a collective effort. See something, say something, right? And we expect our families to also pitch in and help with that aspect of it. But to have 3 people that's just their dedicated responsibility is to make sure all doors are secured and locked, monitor the campus on the outside. Those are all things that I think only adds layers to what we already feel is a safe environment for the students. So I'm really thrilled that we were able to do that for this school year. With that, we do require identification when you come to pick up your students. When you go over to elementary, you're gonna get car loop passes for when we do car loop tomorrow and through the year. I'll touch on car loop in a second. If you don't have your car loop tag, they will not release the students. You also, if you're going to pick your students up in the front office, you will need to bring your ID because they will scan that in order for us to release the students. These are just all things that are in place to keep your students safe. So please don't get frustrated at Miss Media. If you don't have your ID, we really can't release the students. So please bring those things. Also, we offer morning ceremonies for our elementary on Monday and Friday, where we do open our campus up over on the new turf, and we do just a morning ceremony, do some celebrations at times during the year, and we invite you as parents or guardians to come out and enjoy that and see your students and celebrate their achievements. But we do ID and scan IDs at the gate, so we ask you to bring those to those events as well. Some car loop reminders as we get into it tomorrow. I'm sure some of you may have seen as you came onto campus today, there's some construction going on. We've been working with the city all summer. They've been doing a great job of keeping us up to date in regards to their progress. Unfortunately, they have hit some snags that were unforeseen, so it's taken a little bit longer than we anticipated. They have promised that we will be able to come in on Taylor tomorrow the way we normally do for school. So we'll keep working together with them. When you do come for car loop the next 2 days or 2 weeks, just be patient with us if you can. I promise you, after the first 2 weeks, it's seamless. We have one of the better car loops in the charter schools that do car loops. We've gotten that feedback from the city and other people that have come to monitor our car loop. It usually by, I'd say, the end of 2 weeks, we get through it in like 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And this happens for two reasons. One, more students get involved in extracurricular activities, so not as many families are needing to come up to pick up their students. But then also, families, we get used to how to like spread out and not all come at the same time. The first few days, everybody doesn't want to be late, so you're rushing to get here and you're like, we can't be late the first day. But inevitably you figure it out, you figure out your routine, we get back in a groove, people start to pace themselves and know when to arrive. And then that way it spreads out the car loop and it's a lot more efficient. So after 2 weeks, again, we'll get the hang of it and it will work. On Taylor here, at some point during this year, and we'll send out additional communication, but that road is going to go all the way through. So eventually we are going to have traffic coming in two different directions to the back of our car loop, and we'll have to put extra people back there, and we'll probably put out a video and talk through how that will look from a family standpoint when you're coming to pick up or dropping off your students. But nevertheless, for right now, that hasn't finished going through yet. I guess a couple little other pointers. Please try to respect the 5 mile an hour. I know that feels very slow, but remember there are a lot of students on our campus. There's a lot of blind spots. A student may pop out from behind a car, you don't see them. We've never had anything happen. I hope nothing ever does happen. But we just encourage, even if you don't think anybody's around, please just go slow as possible through our car loop and respect that speed limit. Also, if your students do walk out to your car for any reason, please have them use our designated crosswalks. There's lots of designated crosswalks. We have crossing guard people there to support those things. Don't have them just cross across the car loop to your car. Have them go to the crosswalk, and then they can walk down to your car. It just ensures safety for everybody involved. So that's really important. Oops, one more thing about car loop I want to touch on. From a school standpoint, my stance is that everybody uses car loop for drop off and pickup. There are areas on Grand Cadence and some on Taylor, and then there's a neighborhood in front of us where you may see people parking and dropping kids off and letting them walk across. I cannot control that. It's not on our property. I discourage it. The city reaches out every year. The community where you park complains. Different people get frustrated about them parking in the streets on a city road. They've told us they'll ticket people. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Do it at your own risk. But from my standpoint, I'm encouraging you to use the car loop, but there are other things that you may see families doing. If you want to, that's your decision. Again, parent involvement is something that we're so proud of and we want to continue to encourage. I think you deserve to be involved in your students' education. Our PTO is incredible. They've grown every year. They do so much for our students, for our teachers. They're involved in teacher appreciation. They run our Harvest Festival that's coming up here soon, where we have like 15,000 people on campus at night, and there's vendors, there's food trucks. It's incredible. So if you're interested in getting involved, PTO will have a table set up in the elementary building. Please stop by and check them out as well. Pictures. Monday is picture day for all of your students. So please know on Monday they'll be getting their school picture. So one of the last slides, and then I'll let you go to meet your teachers because I know that's inevitably what you're here for. If you are interested in getting involved, we do require fingerprinting to be done. We are always looking for coaches, especially in the elementary school. If you're someone who wants to get involved with coaching, please get your fingerprinting done. Right now it's taking 6 to 10 weeks to get fingerprints back. We cannot have anybody coaching students or kids on our campus without getting this done first. Also, K-5 this year, we did it K-2 last year, but it's going to be K-5 this year. If you want to go on a field trip with your student or be a volunteer, you need to have your fingerprinting done. It's good for 3 years. And then in the final year, you can renew it again for another 3 years. But if you're interested in being involved in that capacity, we are having the fingerprinting people out here on August 3rd on campus, so you don't even have to drive to them. If you're interested, I would encourage you to come up to that and get your fingerprinting done as well. This is our fun car loop. I guess the last thing about car loop that I didn't mention is if there is an ADA need that needs to be accommodated, you're going to want to come into the front parking lot. We don't have that on our car loop, but we will help support, and there is access through our main parking lot area over in the elementary building. All right, well, that is all I have. Thank you all so much. We're excited for the school year, excited to have all of you here at Pinecrest Cadence. It was nice meeting everybody, and can't wait to see everybody bright and early tomorrow. So thanks.